Hi everyone! Thanks for joining us in today's Hanging on Air for the AdSense 10 Challenge. My name is Lori. I'm a strategist here at Google and I'll be your host for today. Today we're going to focus on Google Analytics again, but talking a little bit more about custom reports and what you can do with them. Our guests today have a very strong background in this topic, and we're going to talk to them about strategies, best practices, and basically understand how they view custom reports and how they view Google Analytics overall. But before we begin, let's actually meet the guests that we have with us today, starting with Stuart. Can you tell us your name and a little bit about what brought you here to this Hanging on Air? Stuart?
Absolutely. Hey guys, my name is Stuart. I'm a product marketing manager at SpanishDict.com. We're the largest Spanish language learning and reference site on the net with about 60 million uniques last year, and we're based just outside Washington, D.C. We've worked with Google on a number of fronts, so obviously AdSense like this challenge, AdX, and we've done a lot of good work with Google Analytics as well. So Google has been a really great partner for us, and I'm excited to be a part of the chat today.
Great, thanks Stuart. Some of you may recognize our next three guests from last week. We thought it'd be helpful to bring them back and actually talk a little bit more about Google Analytics, but just in case you missed it, let's actually go around the room and talk to them again. Jamal, can you give us a brief introduction?
Hello everyone, my name is Jamal and I'm with Google since almost 3 years. I started with AdWords. I led AdWords related analytics projects when I was in that team, and now since more than a year I'm in the partnership team and again dealing with lots of analytics projects. So nice to meet you.
Great, thanks Jamal. Matt, you're up next.
Hi everybody, my name is Matt. I'm a product manager on Google AdSense. My particular role is focused around performance reports, and because that's so related to Google Analytics and analyzing data about your ads and your site's performance, I'm here today to answer some of those questions.
Great, and Russ, can you finish us off by giving us a brief intro?
Yep, I'm Russ Ketchum. I'm a product manager with the Google Analytics team. I'm the lead product manager for our content and publisher-related features, also for Google Analytics for mobile apps.
Great. So in yesterday's presentation, Laura talked a lot about custom reports. She showed us how to set an auto report and get the information that you want when you need it. She walked us through a couple of examples, which actually leads to my first question, which is why is customization so important? For this one, let's start with Matt. What do you think?
So 2 points here. Firstly is every website's different. So rather than trying to cater for every possibility within the standard reports, we offer custom reports so that you've got a lot of flexibility to look at exactly what's important for your site. So that's number one. Number two is even when you're looking through the standard reports, you'll probably find anomalies and interesting features and interesting trends that you want to understand more about. And it's only through really diving into very specific slices of the data that you may be able to find out really what the root cause is. So we provide the custom reports to enable you to do that much more detailed level of digging, which is specific to the problem you're trying to solve there and then, rather than necessarily a report that you might look at every day, for example.
Great. Thanks, Matt. And Jamal, as an account manager, why is customization so important for you and publishers?
I totally agree with Matt. As he said, every business has different goals and targets. For example, you are an e-commerce publisher and you focus on conversion percentage, average basket size, e-commerce revenue, and maybe monetization revenue. And consider, for example, since you have recently launched in operations in New York City, you may want to focus on the user activity coming from that region. So how do they navigate on site? What product pages are visited more? And how is my monetization performance in New York compared to other cities? And consider that, for example, you may want to measure the conversion performance of different platforms, including mobile, to drive different marketing strategies. So these needs and priorities apply only to your case, meaning that you need to have a custom approach in looking to web insights and reports. So this means that you can create advanced segments or filters in analytics to focus on just network traffic. Or you can create custom reports showing a summary of conversion or monetization performance, etc. Another quick example, say that you are a sports news publisher giving basketball-related news and updates on your site. And since you just launched your site, you are growing with audience-targeted marketing campaigns and also organically. So 3 most important metrics for you can be like unique visitor growth on a monthly basis, plus time on site metric per different demographic profiles, and percentage of visitors who read articles fully or till the middle of the article. So the last 2 metrics indicate engagement. Again, you have a very focused, perfect perspective in this case, and you need to have a similar focus in Google Analytics to track these 3 metrics you care about. So why not to create 2 custom dashboards summarizing key engagement metrics and summarizing advertisement and marketing performance and visitor acquisition related metrics. So these 2 cases show us that we need different perspectives into the data to make sense of it. And this requires a customization of reports. And customization is necessary to improve the quality of insight that you can gain.
Great. Thanks, Jamal. So we're talking a lot about customizations, getting the information you need, and actually marketing. So on that note, Stuart, as a product marketing manager for SpanishDict.com, why is customization so important to you guys?
Great question. I think it really allows you to understand who's on your site and how you can serve them better. You can drill down to get an actionable view of those segments from the broader trends that you spot and really find out what's driving engagement and traffic to your site. For us, it's really important to look at trends in behavior. So days of the week are really important for us. We have a lot of students on the site examining how people use content when they're coming from an English language browser versus a Spanish language browser, language setting, and then platform, mobile versus desktop. I think people have talked a lot about the shift to mobile, and we've seen that on our site, going from less than 5% of traffic to now it's between 30 and 40%. So those are all really important. And then I think once you know what people are doing on the site, you want to start picking some metrics that you will track against your business goals to optimize and improve the site. So it depends on what your site is doing, whether you're selling something like an e-commerce site and you want to optimize for conversions. Or for us, we focus a lot on, again, the content that people are engaging with. So looking at what's bringing traffic to the site, what pages are really successful and that people like so we can replicate that success, and then where there are opportunities to improve because people are bouncing or the page is loading too slowly, and Google Analytics allows you to do all that. So as a publisher, the customization is really your bread and butter, because ultimately it's going to get more people on the site, get them to engage on a deeper level, and ultimately bring in more revenue.
All right, thanks, Stuart. Great answer. This actually leads me to my next question, which is if you could encourage our viewers right now to actually try one custom report, what would it be and why? Russ, can you start us off with this one?
Yeah, sure. So I think that's actually a kind of tough question to answer because it really comes down to specifically what question the publisher is trying to answer and also the audience that the report is actually going to end up in front of. Because we've touched on it a little bit that custom reporting is a very powerful tool because it lets you slice and dice the data. And so obviously you're going to want to create reports around those metrics that are specifically the questions that you're trying to glean insights to. But by the same token, you can use them to simplify, because once you've created a custom report, if you're working in a collaborative sense, you can strip it down to just include the relevant information and use that version of the report to share it with your organization. So it really, again, depends specifically on the question that you're trying to answer and then who the audience is going to be for it. I'd open it up to the other panelists for some specific examples.
Great. Thanks, Rose. That was definitely a little bit of a trick question, but a really good answer. Matt, what do you think for this one? Any custom reports that you encourage people to try?
Yeah, so if I'm thinking specifically about AdSense monetization, there's actually there's many other dimensions that you can split the monetization metrics by than what's available in the standard reports. So if you're looking at just in standard reports in analytics, there's things like looking at frequency and recency, and you can actually take those dimensions and then slice the AdSense metrics by those if you have your AdSense account linked to Google Analytics, and you need to do that in the custom report. So there's also returning visitors versus new visitors, and it's interesting to see, well, how well do different types of visitor behavior monetize? So is it the new visitors that are always clicking on your ads, or is it returning visitors? And that might help you think about, well, what is my strategy in terms of visitor retention versus trying to attract new visitors? If it's frequency and recency, that's looking at, well, if the visitors are more frequently on my site, are they monetizing better, or are they monetizing worse? And again, that might influence the strategy that I, as a publisher, adopt in order to maximize my monetization, whilst also making sure that I'm developing my audience and keeping my content great.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Really good example. Jamal, actually, what are your thoughts for this one, too? Any custom reports that you'd encourage people to try out, or any bits of advice for those who are interested in trying it out?
Actually, I don't have any specific answer to that question because business goals are different. That's why I don't want to specify a custom report like with those metrics and dimensions. Instead, I want to share an important advice with you about the custom report creation. With custom reports, you track metrics, for example, page view, per dimension like page title. So the metrics you use in custom reports should reflect your business goals and targets. This is important. So they should be able to quantify some business value. So they should drive some change or action to improve your business. That's why I strongly suggest you to select outcome and action-related metrics in your custom reports. For example, total goal completions or goal conversion rate are good metrics to track since they reflect your achievements or goals which are defined in your Google Analytics account. For example, an achievement or goal could be like a sales activity or a submission of a form or a video completion, etc. So metrics you care most about, like revenue, goal completions, conversion numbers, etc., should be a part of your custom reports for actionable insights. So this is my suggestion.
Great. Thanks, Jamal. So taking that information of really figuring out what it is that you want to be looking at, Stuart, can you give us a couple examples about custom reports you use for your site, what you've learned from the data, and how that's impacted your next steps?
Sure, absolutely. When I started, one thing we noticed as a kind of broad general business goal was that we were getting a lot of good traffic on the English language part of the site, but we weren't getting quite as much on the Spanish language part of the site. So we dove into a custom report looking at the bounce rate by landing pages and focused specifically on those Spanish language landing pages. And we were able to derive insights there on ways to kind of tweak the content and improve the site, which drove a lot more traffic to the site and ultimately helped us achieve that business goal. Taking it a few steps further, we have a daily word email that goes out so people can learn a Spanish word in the context of a sentence. And that was our primary goal that we were trying to optimize for. We were trying to get people to sign up and put in their email address. And we created a custom report that looked at the goal conversion rates, again, by the different landing pages. And we're able to find a few pages, specifically a hub page that focuses on learning Spanish, where the goal conversion rate was much higher. So we looked at the messaging and we looked at the placement and coupled those with, there's a really easy tool. Google Analytics has content experiments, which allows you to test different types of content. We also use something called Optimizely, which is very, very simple to use. And as a result of deriving those insights from the custom reports and conducting testing with these tools, we boosted our conversion rate 90%. And we're getting a lot more email signups for that word of the day. So definitely powerful and actionable items for people to use depending on your ultimate goals.
All right, thanks, Stuart. Great to hear that things are working out really well. So for my next question, we talk a lot about custom reports, and we started to dig a little bit deeper at the different features within Google Analytics. And there's one thing I'd really like to talk about, which is advanced segments. And my question here is, would you advise publishers tuning in right now to try advanced segments in Google Analytics, and why? For this question, Russ, maybe you can start us off by actually telling us what is advanced segment.
Sure. So we're talking for the most part in this session about custom reporting, but advanced segmentation is really a technique that spans all of Google Analytics, so it's available in standard reporting as well as custom reporting. And really, it's a tool that applies to pretty much all of our reports that lets you slice and dice the data that you're looking at very easily. And so you could think of an example of an advanced segment as something like direct traffic. So you could take whatever report that you're looking at and very easily apply that segment and just very quickly filter down the data that you're looking at to just specifically that segment. So it's a very robust tool in that it's customizable. You can create new and custom segments and apply those as well. And so really it's just a very handy tool to do a quick deep dive analysis in both the standard reporting and in advanced reporting. So in the context then specifically of advanced reporting, we're talking about how we're able to create reports that address very specific business needs. You can imagine how that functionality becomes that much more relevant on those custom reports.
Great. Thanks, Russ. Matt, what are your thoughts on advanced segments?
Yeah, I'd repeat what Russ said. I think one of the key things is it's easy. You can already sort of drill down into the existing reports and say if you're looking for mobile traffic, you could go to the devices report and then drill down there and select another dimension. But that's quite fiddly. By using advanced segments, you can quickly select all the mobile traffic if you're looking at mobile, and then all of the reports reflect that new segment. So very quickly to switch in and switch out different types of traffic. I think the other thing is also, as Ross said, customization and being able to use or apply your own custom segments. It could be something very, very specific, like you could have returning visitors from Bulgaria who have visited the site 10 times in the last week. So something really, really specific if you want to go into a lot of detail. Or it could be something as simple as, I was looking just the other day at a site for what behavior do people who are using a very old browser version exhibit. And that's quite interesting because we wanted to retire support for a particular old browser. And so I set up a custom advanced segment, and then I could apply it to all the other reports and see, well, what features are going to cause a problem for the publishers, or for the users, sorry, which were accessing using that browser. So very, very powerful, very flexible tool, but simple to use as well.
Great, thanks, Matt. So it sounds like there are a lot of advantages with advanced segments. Jamal, given your experience working with publishers, how would you, phrase advanced segments and why people should take a look at it?
Yeah, segmentation is at the heart of the concept called customization. So a segment means a different look at issues and business problems or data. As you know, there are lots of data in the world. We can say that 90%, a quick fact, 90% of all the data in the world has been generated over the last 2 years. So we can easily get lost in the big data. And the segmentation, the concept called segmentation, is vital here to make sense of the data. Analytics allows you to do very deep segmentations. You can select one of the default segments in the interface, or if you want to play big, this is what I suggest to you, you can create custom segments which are relevant to your business needs. Custom segment creation, the logic of the custom segment creation is very similar to the custom report creation. When you apply an advanced segment, then analytics becomes a tool reflecting metrics from that dimension, as Matt mentioned. If you, for example, create an advanced segment for visitors who convert, or in other words, who do things that you want them to do, remember the goal, all of the reports in Google Analytics become reports reflecting this segment's behavior. So this is important. You can also create multiple segments at the same time and apply them at the same time to compare segment performance side by side. So two segments, for example, comparing visitor behavior of converting visitors and not converting visitors can tell you very important and useful insights to increase your site's goal conversion performance, for example.
Great, thanks, Jamal. So now that we have an understanding of what is an advanced segment, a couple examples of how you can use it, Stuart, it'd be great if you could tell us a little bit about how you've used advanced segments and what you've noticed.
Absolutely. I would say the most important advanced segment, at least for us, and I think this is probably true for other publishers as well, is that mobile segment that Matt was talking about. I think it's really important to see how and it depends on what you're offering as a publisher, but how your audience is transitioning to smartphones and tablets, and to think through ways that you can better serve them on that new medium. And it's interesting, too, to look beyond Google Analytics. If you haven't yet, I would definitely encourage you to look at the platform report in AdSense, because we've seen a lot of growth over the past year. And for some people who haven't yet taken a deep dive into the data, it can be pretty surprising. So I think that's a good place to start, and it's definitely really quick and easy. So encourage people to check that out.
All right, thanks, Stuart. So for our next question, it's a little bit based on the topic we talked about last week, which is the solutions gallery. In last week's session, we focused a lot about Google Analytics overall. Jamal mentioned, if you do a quick search for Google Analytics Solution Gallery, the first query that pops up shows you, I think, over 30 dashboards and custom reports that Google has created to kind of help fit the needs that you have. Given this information, my next question is, what's your favorite solution within the gallery? Russ, what are your thoughts for this?
Yep. So in last week's session, we did talk about the solutions gallery, but we really talked about it in terms of dashboarding and the dashboards that have been pre-created in there that you can effectively download and add to your account. This week, it's worth highlighting that the solutions gallery is not just limited to dashboards, but custom reports is a main focus as well. So really, if you have either type of need, the solutions gallery is a great place for you to go to get a very quick and easy setup. And I'll leave it to some of the other panelists to comment on some of the specific reports that might be available there.
All right, sounds good. So I guess the real question is, within the solutions gallery, what's your favorite custom report? Matt, what do you think?
So I've got two. One is the publisher's daily report, which I think is particularly if you're just getting started with Google Analytics as a publisher, it's just a really great core report to give you the key metrics as a starting point, and then you can grow from there. I think the other one that's really interesting is the efficiency of visitor acquisition. So that looks at specifically new visitors coming to your site and how they get to find out about your site. How do they get there? And it breaks down sort of paid media, so coming through any ad campaigns that you have. It also looks at social media and the kind of the parts of social networks that that your users come from, and also from free media as well. So you search and looks at the search terms that users are searching for to get to your site. So it's a really interesting assistant to help you work out how effective is all your effort to drive traffic to your site, turning out into real users, and then helps you work out, well, what areas should I focus on more?
All right, thanks, Matt. So that's the Publisher's Daily Report and the Efficiency of Visitor Acquisitions Custom Report. Stuart, what are your thoughts on this one? What's your favorite solution in the gallery?
Great question. For me, it's the SEO keyword not provided report. I know as a publisher looking to find the content that people find useful and interesting and are able to discover, we used to rely a lot on keywords to kind of derive that information. And now with not provided, there isn't quite as much visibility into it. But this custom report is really helpful to get a sense of what people are looking at, and then to continue that same exercise with a new source of data. So that's really helpful, and you can actually pair this report with Google Webmaster Tools and look at those key landing pages and pull out the specific keywords that are driving traffic to those landing pages to get a little more insight as well.
Thanks, Stuart. And Jamal, finally, what are your favorite solutions within the gallery?
Before I will tell my favorite report, I want to tell you that custom reports in the solution gallery should be seen as a starting point. They are there to help you to initiate a thinking process. So you should tell to yourself, this is a general custom report applying to general needs. So, but what are my needs? What do I want to achieve? To achieve my business objectives, what insights or metrics should I track, etc. So when you know answers of such strategic questions, then you are ready to customize the report further to reflect your custom needs. So my favorite custom report is a very simple report that I use to track insights on my personal blog. It's mobile metrics by hour of day report that you can download again from the solutions gallery. But as I said in the beginning, I customized that report to add some relevant and actionable metrics for myself. In addition to tracking mobile visitor numbers per hour, I also track hourly goal completion numbers. In my case, if people read my articles fully, it's a goal completion. I also added hourly page values. So page value gives you an idea of which page in your site contributed more to your site's conversions. So I also measure social engagement by tracking hourly social actions on my site in the same report. So I customized it further. So I track when my mobile visitors are more inclined to click, for example, Google Plus button or other social sharing option buttons on my site. So this helps me to shape my social media strategy for my mobile visitors.
Great. Thanks, Jamal. For those of you tuning in right now, I know that's a lot of information, so what I'm going to do is after this session, make sure to check out the Google Plus event page for this recording, and I'll outline some of the reports that Matt, Russ, Stuart, and Jamal have outlined specifically within the gallery, and feel free to check out any of the ones that you want to look at as well. Again, there are over 30 different options there, so there's a lot of stuff we could do. So it looks like we're running out of time, so I would love to take the next couple minutes to figure out, are there any parting words or words of wisdom that you'd like to share with those tuning in right now? Stuart, you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. I liked Courtney's comment from an earlier session where she said, don't drown in the data. I think it's great to start with something that's easy and perhaps a little more general, available in the custom solution gallery, and then customize from there. Things are always changing. There's always new features, so we need to keep learning as publishers. For us, for example, we're currently building a better way to learn Spanish and are about to launch a paid product. So there would be a really interesting learning curve for us moving from sort of a model that's just supported by advertising to one that now has a paid conversion. So there's no need to reinvent the wheel, and it's great to learn from others and share from others and build on those experiences. And ultimately, you as the publisher know your audience because you've been able to build it really well. So just take advantage of these tools to gain a deeper understanding and watch your site grow.
Great, and actually on that note, to plug our next session, next week we're going to be focusing specifically on user experience and how to understand your users. So to Stuart's point, that's a very valuable component, so make sure to tune in then. But back to our original question, any parting words? Jamal, what do you think?
I manage strategic partners in Turkey, and I help them to grow their business with Google solutions. So the insights I get from Google Analytics are very valuable to optimize my partners' monetization strategies, to improve their user experience on their site, and even to try different Google solutions. So to be able to offer a full consultation to my partners, I need to make sense of their analytics data with their permission and offer them solutions. So when publishers give Google specialists and account managers access to their Google Analytics data via their account data sharing settings, you can check this, we can find ways to improve their business by sharing valuable optimization tips with them. So you can check our latest AdSense blog post about this topic, and you can think about talking to your account manager or any contact in Google about more tips for optimization.
Great, thanks, Jamal. It's like you read my mind. Yeah, so the blog post went up this morning. It's essentially allowing you to opt into Account Specialist to look at your Google Analytics data. So for those of you interested in that, definitely check out the blog and check out our Help Center for more information, or even check out your Google Analytics account to opt in. With that in mind, Matt, any parting words for our viewers?
Yeah, I'd just like to follow up on a point that Jamal made a couple of times around one of the things that analytics is great at is tracking conversions. But also, if you're a publisher who uses AdWords to drive traffic to your site, and we know that many do, then you can use Google Analytics to really track what is the value that traffic generated by AdWords has driven. And if you've got your AdSense account linked to your Analytics account, you can actually, using custom reports, track what effectively what your return on investment has been for your ad campaigns to generate then ad traffic from your ads. And obviously you can also see through Google Analytics the how those different users that have come from that ad campaign have progressed through the site and how they've then returned in the future.
Great, thanks, Matt. And Russ, any final words or any chance there's a product update that you'd like to tell people about?
Sure. I have two, actually. So mobile has been a theme that came up a lot, both in this week's discussion and last week. And so I wanted to highlight that for any publishers out there who have a native app that's part of their overall strategy, Google Analytics has native SDKs for both iOS and Android apps that give you in-app tracking, and that paves the way to let you have cross-device reporting. So definitely, as you're thinking about your app metric strategy, consider Google Analytics as a part of that, because that can help give you a more holistic perspective of how your users are engaging. And then second is, as of this week, Google Analytics itself launched a brand new Android app. And so that's available in the Google Play Store now. And that gives you access to all of your web and app profile data anywhere at any time. And it's a great new layout that works really well on both phones and on tablets. So I'd encourage everybody to check that out.
All right, thanks, Russ. So that's the end of this session. For those of you tuning in right now, I really hope this has helped you develop a better understanding of what you can do with Google Analytics and with AdSense. A couple of reminders before we go. There won't be a Hangout on Air tomorrow, but if you have any questions, feel free to bring them to office hours on Friday from 11 to 11:30 Pacific time, and someone on the AdSense team will be there to help. And also, let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you think of this week's events, where we can improve, what you would like to hear more about by filling in the check-in survey. This stuff is really important to us as we move forward and continue to develop these programs. And lastly, Stuart, Jamal, Matt, Russ, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. It's been very helpful for me, and I hope it's helped those tuning in as well. And for those of you tuning in, I guess I'll see you on Friday. Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.